It's our hubris to think that we can use language to try to articulate and extrapolate the actual beautiful wonder of this great mysterium tremendum that we're afoot in, and that, you know, every breath we take and every person we meet, every experience we have is in this garden of Eden. This is heaven on earth. There's been this wildly beautiful, transcendental, metaphysical idea of this millennial kingdom, this millennial reign, this 1,000-year reign of Christ, and that whole thing is really beautifully, stunningly poetic and enchanting. This true, you know, sense of mystery and awe of this Garden of Eden that we're living in. And now when I look around, I literally see the Garden of Eden. This beautiful creation. I look up at the firmament and I see the pole star. I imagine that to be the gates to heaven. Just like there's a pineal gland on our head, this is our dome. And then we got the pineal gland, that's our pole star. And then we got this huge dome with the pole star, Polaris up there. It's like as above, so below. There's a dome within, a dome without. There's a, you know, portal, a pineal gland portal to, you know, to back to heaven through consciousness. At the same time, I think that when we die, our souls get pulled to the electromagnetic center of the system where Mount Meru is, and we shoot up that Jacob's ladder, the stairway to heaven, and our soul flies into Polaris.
Okay, last time. This is drugs.
Through Polaris.
This is your brain on drugs. Any questions?
What ended my last relationship? What do you think ended last relationship? Oh, okay. Daddy issues. What is there a ton of in heaven?
My name is Pablo Juan Carlos Alejandro González María Lucia Mendoza Macarena Chipotle Tapatio con queso guacamole Ferreira Santiago Rodriguez, but everybody calls me
No.
Bobby.
My favorite feeling in the world is when you cancel our plans, the plans that I regret committing to and have been dreading daily. Then I get to act all high and mighty like it's not an inconvenience. Little do you know is that you made my fucking week.
Y'all, what's going on? It's Hood News 75. This is some bullshit. We back in the motherfucking Ohio River giving y'all a weather update because this shit is getting high as hell. Mind you, these stairs are supposed to be way down here with no water around them at all, for real. Like, it's at the top damn near to the street out here. This is some bullshit. Stay away from these areas. Stay away from the flooded areas, y'all. This shit is crazy. We the only news reporter that's going to get in this motherfucking river and get y'all the real. Be the fuck safe out here, for real, y'all. Hood News 75, we out.
Hungry. You're hungry? Are you hungry? You're not hungry.
The word of the day is Hakuna Mafuck-it.
I just came from the dispensary and now I'm walking to my neighbor's to get eggs from her little stand over there.
Why do we pay for eggs when chickens lay them for free?
I'm buying eggs on the street and weed in the store. I don't know what the fuck's going on.
When you give 0 fucks and no worries and let the shit show carry on.
You could buy a chicken one time and it would lay eggs for you for the rest of your life for free. Isn't that concerning?
Hakuna Mafuck-it!
So you just be like running around the neighborhood and your parents wouldn't know where you are?
Yep, just had to be back by dinner time.
Which was around what time?
Around sunset-ish time.
Sunset-ish time? What's that?
I don't know, like between 5 and 9.
5 and 9?
It really wasn't that big of a deal.
Okay, well, did you have a phone?
No, they weren't invented yet.
So on top of your parents letting you run around without knowing where you are, they also had no way to communicate with you to find out.
Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. How did you not get abducted?
I don't know, maybe that stuff wasn't as prevalent when I was a kid. It's also entirely possible that my generation has more common sense. You know, we're smarter and tougher than your generation.
Nah, I don't believe that.
I think that is the case, and I can prove to you. If you just follow me to my van, I'll show you.
Your van?
There's candy. Okay.
I hope this is working. My internet connection is it's tough, to say the least.
I'm the lead singer of my band. I get all the girls to take off their underpants. I'm the lead singer of my band. My salsa makes all the pretty girls want to dance my salsa. Whoa, 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 look out for my next single. It's called my salsa. My salsa, 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 salsa. My salsa makes all the pretty girls want to dance and take off their underpants. My salsa makes all the pretty girls want to dance and take off their underpants. My salsa.
Looks like somebody's been down here with the ugly stick. Let's go.
Can I get a phone that plays the Mexican head dance?
I insist on it.
I dance around the Mexican hat. I dance, and that's the end of that. Or is it? I guess I'll keep singing. My cell phone appears to be ringing.
Hello? Oddballs rethink, whatever, man.
Con sombrero.
Are you flipping kidding me? You high stick me in the flipping face, you flipping dummy.
Yeah!
Is it depression? Is it anxiety? Do I have ADHD? Am I just lazy? Am I burned out? What the fuck is wrong with me?
Shut your mouth. Shut up. Shut the hole in your face. Like that. You can do it. Shh. Shut up. And shut the fuck up.
Con sombrero.
Oh yeah. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Sombrero. Let me get this out of here. I'm working on a Band-Aid studio here in let's see, here in beautiful central Kentucky. It is April 6th. Let me get myself up on here. Let's see what I can do. Let's see. How about that? It's gonna let me do it. We'll see. And there we go. There we go. If I can get a 5x5 from the chat, making sure you guys can hear me. It looks like all the video played well. We've been in Tornado Alley here for last couple of days, so internet's kind of in and out. Looks like 5x5. Thanks, Zach. Appreciate it. Working on kind of a Band-Aid studio, as you guys all already know. We had all our entire belongings of our entire life stolen from a U-Haul. Well, actually, the U-Haul got stolen with all of our stuff inside of it last week. So I'm working with, you know, I used to be driving a Ferrari and now I'm driving a Pinto, but that's okay. We had a really cool show tonight, guys. Andrew's going to pop in here a little bit. Nico is, she's wandering around, putting on her makeup, yelling in the background. There, you can hear her. And we're going to be talking with James Robertson of the Loft Project, based out of Edinburgh, Scotland, which this is only the second time we've ever had somebody over the pond actually on here live. And I'm really looking forward to it because we've got, you know, when we're trying to look for stuff that, you know, at least groundswell stuff overseas, you know, that the feed's never going to bring up information on kind of what's happening on the street. You know, we're only going to get what the filters will let us see from over the pond. And James, I found out about him initially through our friend Alex Michael. Some of you guys know him as Conspiracy Music Guru. And it was a really great podcast. And come to find out, it looks like we're going to probably hear about it here in a second. James is on strike number 2 on his channel. So I told him about Hobo Speak a little bit. I told him about how we sort of bounce around. What do you mean? Liz, how do you pronounce it? How do you pronounce Edinburgh? Ah, shit. I fucked that up. Edinburgh. It's not Edinburgh. I thought it was Edinburgh. Edinburgh? Edinburgh. But not Edinburgh. Not Edinburgh. That's like Pittsburgh. I think it's well, we're going to find out. James is probably going to let us know here in a little bit. Edinburgh. Okay. Thanks, Zach. See, I'm trying to expand our horizons over here a little bit. Anyway, broadcasting from NDB's place, our midterm destination on our way to our final destination while we figure out what happened to the U-Haul truck. At the bottom is the, you guys all heard the story last week. We're not even going to talk about that at all, other than maybe at the break at the end. You can see the GoFundMe. We're about 45% there. All the help has been massively appreciated. Everybody that's donated, thank you. At the least, it takes a lot of anxiety out that we can sort of get some things that we need. So that's the last we'll talk about it here for a while. But in the meantime, let's get James on here and we will talk. We're going to learn a little bit about his Loft Project, and he's going to give us the inside scoop on what's actually going on. So let's get him on here. What's up, brother?
Hi. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, fantastic. Just wanted to say, first and foremost, thank you so much for the invite. Super excited.
Yeah, man. Yeah, we had actually talked back in March, and other than Alex Michael, like, you're the second either content maker or, you know, artist that we've had from over the pond. So like, we're going to try to do a lot more of these. I know your podcast is generally kind of new.
Yeah.
We'll learn a little bit more about that, but I mean, we like to hear stories from like places where we're not going to get stories from the interwebs unless we knew where to look. And that was my thought, like initially having you on, was just like, we want a little different perspective, what your take is on it, some of your guests, and kind of just where your head is right now with all this nonsense going on in Effie land. We're kind of like over all this bullshit. We've talked it out enough, and we're moving on. But some of it's going to play in a little bit of like, you know, what's happening with you on the street over there, and like what's happening with your guests, and a little bit about yourself. So let's start easy. Tell us about yourself, how you came to where you are now. You can do a short-term style of it, Cliff Notes, however you want to do it. We got as much time as you want. So
okay.
For everybody out there too, we started a little bit early because he's like 5 hours ahead of us. You're 5 hours, right? You're at 10.
Yeah. It's 10:15 over here at the minute.
Okay, so we just did this week, and we do that for people over the pond. We try to adjust our times a little bit. There's Nico.
Hi.
That's James. Hi. She'll be on here in just a second. So let's start easy. Tell us about yourself, full name, and you go, and you have the floor.
Okay. My name is James Robertson, obviously. Born here in Edinburgh, but parents and myself moved to the northeast of England when I was 9 years old. So I've lived down in England most of my adult life, but always known that Edinburgh and Scotland in general is where I belong. It's where my family are. And I moved back home to the city about 13 years ago. But unfortunately, for a proud Scotsman, I have an English accent, which to most of my extended family in Edinburgh find so hilarious, especially with a name like James Alexander Robertson.
Yeah, they're saying you have a Geordie or a Geordie accent.
Yeah, it's
Geordie,
a northeast. Okay. Yeah, it's a northeast accent, and it's quite surreal because my parents have been down in England for 40 years, still have broad Edinburgh accents, and I'm literally the only person in my entire family in Scotland with an English accent, which is quite hard for someone who's fiercely proud of being a Scot. And but yeah, I'm stuck with the twang. I guess there's worse British accents that you could have than a Geordie accent, I guess.
Hey, everybody loves it on here, so like, you know,
yeah.
you just do you.
Well, a lot of people say, because the border's been moved that many times, a lot of people just say Geordies are just Scotsmen with their brains bashed out. Anyway, they might as well be Scotsmen anyway. Yeah, so came back to Edinburgh 13 years ago. I think I've always been somebody who question things. I like to think that I've always been that way, and I think that the kind of first real thing that kind of woke me up, or the first real kind of thing that I questioned was 2001, 9/11. Like a lot of people, obviously, clearly, I'm not a physicist, I'm not a structural engineer, but there was just something. We've all seen videos of controlled demolitions throughout our lives. And there was just something about watching it unfold that day, especially Building 7, which is still to this day a lot of people don't even know about. People don't even talk about Building 7. And I just remember questioning it with my work colleagues. And obviously, in the early days, if you questioned that, you were like, there was so much emotion attached to it. How dare you? People died and all this stuff. Are you crazy? All the normal stuff. And then it just kind of went quiet. I just lived my life afterwards a little bit. And then it was 2016 when I first heard that there was people who still believed the earth was flat. And I was just like, my reaction was like the same as everybody else's when you first hear it. It's like, these people must be crazy. Where's the edge? We've got photographs from space, you know, all the normal kind of rhetoric. And but back then, I think it was before the YouTube algorithm had changed, and you could actually find actual flat Earth content back in the day. You could obviously, you know yourself, if you type flat Earth into Google or YouTube or anywhere now in the mainstream, you're just gonna get page after page of nonsense, right? But back then, you could still actually find content. So even though I thought it was crazy, I just found myself just watching all this kind of. I was staying up to like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, just absorbing all this flat Earth content, and I was just like, over a period of time, I was just like, it can't be. There's no way it is. It can't be. Or hold on a minute, maybe it is. To the point where you go, actually, there's nothing about the heliocentric model that even makes sense when you actually question it, and when you're having these debates with people online and you're having arguments with people, you realize that for a long time I was defending something that I didn't even know I didn't even know what the heliocentric model was supposed to be. It was just the knee-jerk reaction to hearing the term flat Earth. And as you know, there's so much preconceived bias attached to that term. I don't even like that term to describe myself. Probably globe skeptic or whatever, but because people just straight away they envisage this ridiculous spinning disc on the back of a turtle with water falling off it, surrounded by space balls, you know, and that was it. That flat Earth was the thing that sent me down. I mean, I focused on that for such a long time, and then that's kind of sent me down so many other, you know, rabbit holes that I've been down, and it's just opened up everything. Just really opened up everything. and that's basically how I've met so many cool people, including yourselves, along the way, and just went down so many rabbit holes. And I just love having great conversations and learning new stuff. One thing that I've found to be true is that the more that I've learned, is I've realized that the more I've learned, the more I realize I know nothing about this, whatever this physical realm is. But yeah, that was it. And I just love having conversations. I thought, obviously, the whole podcast thing's just, it's such a massive platform these days, and everybody, it's not just TV stations anymore. You can have your voice and set up your own thing, and I just love having great conversations with really good, cool guests, and that's how basically how the Loft Project was born, and here we are now.
Yeah, I'd spent a lot of years, I've been a musician my whole life, and I spent a lot of years doing music, and I still do when I'm allowed to do it, I never saw myself as a broadcaster per se. I was like basically just hanging out with a bunch of people trying to figure out what the hell is this damn flat earth thing. I'm like, this is crazy pants. And I was looking for people all over interweb world to just like, can we figure this out? Can we like just lay down the facts and make sure we don't have this wrong? I was like, I hid out for the first 2 years that I was talking about this stuff. And I finally found some communities, some different circles that I could talk about it with. And no chance was I going live with any of this crap for the first 2 years. I was like, this is nuts, and of course, like, I couldn't keep it down forever. I eventually I was like, someone saw me looking at it. I was at the bar with my laptop looking at flat earth content, and someone's like, oh, you're not looking at flat earth shit, are you? And I was like, and then the word got out, and then suddenly it's like, I can't even anymore. It's like, I guess I just have to go public and just say, well, I can't debunk it. And if I can't debunk it, then I guess I want to talk about it. And if I'm going to talk about it, I might as well talk about it live. And, it's been a remarkable experience so far. And I'll tell you, being able to talk about it in open public forum, at least as much as YouTube will allow it, has actually been great. It's been great therapy too, because like, I feel like a sort of a more complete person, like whole, like made whole. I don't have everything figured out by any stretch. But I certainly feel much more at
I thought
ease.
I made you a complete person.
Oh.
Well, it just resonated with me so much at the time, and even long before I even knew any of the talking points or how to defend myself or how to kind of debate it. There was something I remember the first time I shared it on Facebook, and it was just the earth is flat, and my Facebook just blew up. It was crazy. These people who I'd grown up with, my long-term childhood friends who I worked with, who I'd go out with the weekends, so they just their reaction to me was crazy. And it just throughout this whole experience, and I think we've all shared the same experience when it comes to flat earth, some of the worst things that have been said to me, some of the most vile and vindictive things that have been done to me, hasn't been strangers or trolls or just online entities. It's been friends and family.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so sad. Like, why are people so judgy?
Yeah, I mean, people. I guess if you want to undermine someone's story or their opinion, you have to label them with something, I guess. And people who've known me their entire life, oh, you're crazy. You're like calling into question my intelligence, calling into question my mental health. You're clearly crazy. You need help and all. It was a real kind of I'd never experienced that before. Like friends and family, just the way they turned on me, and it was quite funny because not funny, but at the same time I was meeting all these other people online from different groups, other flat earthers and other kind of truthers. I mean, I don't like labels, but whatever, truth seekers, whatever.
Right, of course.
And then they would come in and defend me, and then my whole page at that time were like, some of the threads about flat Earth were like 600 comments long, and back then you could say whatever you liked. There was people threatening each other in my threads, and it was like there was no 30-day bans, there was no Facebook censorship at all back when I first started talking about it.
Yeah, I'll speak to that. Like that. Well, that's a very similar experience that a lot of people have. Is that I think you would call it the witnessing when you break free of the programming. I call it break free. If you snap to, or if you finally like, oh, you actually get it. If you really truly get it, you suddenly see how programmed we all were, and everybody else is that hasn't broken through yet, right?
Yeah.
And when you see them react violently towards something as like just as simple as like, well, we may not live on a ball, and they violently react, you realize that's their programming occurring in real time. And everyone has a different varying degree of their reaction. Some people are like, you could see their eyes get real weird, but they're like not going to freak out. But they're like, oh, I don't know about that. And then of course they, disown you or don't talk to you anymore or whatever. That's whatever.
Yeah.
And there are some people that are just so programmed that their only response when they hear flat earth is to turn into a monster. It's crazy pants to witness it in real time.
One of our friends from New York is from Ireland, like straight up Irish, like to the whatever degree. He's like, oh, he slapped Alex in the face one time. We were sitting there hanging out, and he's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And like slaps him in the face. And I was like, dude. And Alex was like, why did you do that?
So I guess,
but he does not believe it in any way, shape, or form. And I asked him, I was like, but you believe in fairies, right? And he was like, well, yeah.
Well, I think in Ireland, it's a bit of like more of like a back slap if you get slapped in the face, because they're just used to hitting each other so much. It was okay for him to do that. I was like, really, you're going to respond that hardcore to it? And you know what's funny about him is that he was the one that always brought it up. I would never even bring it up in conversation, whether we're at the bar or hanging out or doing whatever. He would bring it up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, really? Like, I didn't bring it up. You brought it up. So clearly you have like a thing. Nicole, everyone can hear you rolling that.
Oh, sorry.
She's not rolling anything, if you're asking. But anyway, it was like, there's varying degrees of reaction to it. And like some of the worst ones are like, you always know it. The other ones that they're like, well, it's, I've heard of flat earth, and they'll walk away from it. In general, friends and family, same with me, just distance themselves. It was like, okay, Alex has gone off, he's gone off the deep end, whatever. But never talk to me about it. They just like their reaction or their programming tells them, go away from Alex, never talk to Alex again. I'm like, guys, I haven't changed much really since this breakthrough. I know there's a lot of change that happens with it, but in general, my sense of humor is still here. Everything that was me before is still here. Although I feel like I'm a little bit more enlightened with this thing. I don't know everything. Make no mistake, but it's like that opened up a lot of doors breaking through that thing.
Definitely. And like you alluded to before, it's enriching your life in many ways, right? And for me, who was somebody who always believed that what they taught, that kind of the blind theories of scientism, your Big Bang evolution, that we're some insignificant speck of dust lost in a infinite radiation filled vacuum, and we live and die, and life has no meaning or purpose, and it just happened by a random, inexplicable explosion of nothing, and you can't go anywhere, and the only power is man and government. And I fully believed in all that stuff, and you don't have to be accountable for your own actions and all that kind of stuff. But discovering flat Earth certainly took me down what I would describe as a spiritual route to know. I mean, and I would definitely not say I'm religious, but definitely I'm happy using the word God. I am happy using the intelligent design, creator, source, whatever that may be. I just see, when you think in terms of even like a single living cell, the unfathomable complexity of that, to say that even that could come from a random explosion of nothing, where inert matter burst into existence, and then through nothing but the passage of time and some magic turned into the most conscious, sentient, whatever we are, whatever these meat suits, avatars, whatever this physical realm is. It's insane to think that could have ever happened,
Yeah, I had a similar experience too, because I didn't come up in religion. I didn't come up with church. I was never really an atheist, but I certainly was agnostic, and I just didn't really have time to talk about it. I was too busy playing music or whatever. Yeah. And but that breakthrough, when you realize that this place is designed, whatever God you follow, whatever house of religion you follow, whatever, there is a designer or there's something greater than just this place. It not only humbles you, but it also opens a bunch of doors that you didn't realize were closed.
Yeah.
And really everything's new. I talk to my buddy Crumb all the time. I'm like, it feels like we're kind of in high school again, not just because this community behaves sort of like high schoolers sometimes, but like we're relearning the world all over again. And yes, it does appear to be magical, and the stuff we thought we understood about it is nonsense. It was complete heliocentric indoctrination.
Yeah.
Me, on the other hand, my mom, she's like, I watched them go to the moon. They never went to the moon. I watched that when I was a kid in elementary school, and they never went to the moon. It's bullshit. That is dumb. You live on the, she's like, people are aliens. They're aliens. They have masks on or something, but people are what? She's like, it's not. Yeah. So everybody has always thought I was weird. So, I mean, the label thing, I don't know. I feel like the judgment thing, when people like they label you as a certain stereotype, I think it's so like just a long time ago. It's just outdated. Like, stop. And you know something? We're here, we're living in our own reality, and everybody's reality is different. Your reality, it's a globe. My reality, it's a never-ending earth that it has mountains, it has valleys, it has water, it has every water that is level. But I just think people need to stop judging, and that core judgment that people have, it's only going to end up harming themselves in the long run.
Yeah. I mean, in the beginning, I just wanted to share that. I just wanted to share it with people, but I didn't realize, obviously, with not just with Flat Earth, but in a urgency of wanting to share stuff, it came across as forceful. As I've calmed down and kind of learned how to talk to people, is that, listen, everybody is on their own kind of journey. You can't, and I've certainly, it's been quite refreshing that people there's a couple of people who back in 2016 who actively attacked me and kind of trolled every single Flat Earth post that I did have recently kind of reached out privately to say that they've actually, after all these years, started looking at it themselves and they were like, wow, and just like saying sorry and just admitting that it was just a knee-jerk reaction that everybody has it's crazy when you first hear it. It's insane, but if you look at, I mean, how much of written recorded history can we believe? I certainly believe that every ancient civilization would kind of said that, that was their thought, that it was a stationary plane with a dome above it, whatever, because that is if they didn't indoctrinate you from birth to believe that you live on a physics-defying supersonic molten spaceship, there's nothing about our everyday life there's nothing about your everyday experiences of the natural world or objective reality that will ever tell you that you're on some kind of spaceship potato flying through infinite radiation-filled vacuums right now. There's nothing. Yeah. It's when you think about it, it's genius, this backstory that they've come up with, this back-engineered mathematics, that's all they've required, this kind of back-engineered mathematics and loads of CGI or cartoon fakery from a government agency to completely convince generation after generation after generation that we live on this ball.
Yeah, and they made really good company when all this myth was created. You could call it back in the late 1800s, but really the same characters have been involved. You've got Walt Disney, you've got Jack Parsons, you've got Wernher von Braun. All these people sort of crossed their professions together to sort of mesh together a new religion that was an inversion of what you observe every day. And all they needed was 3 or 4 generations of that, where the teachers didn't even know what they were teaching was false until you've totally forgotten the memory of another cosmology. And it only took a quick internet search for even the people that first got into like looking at this stuff, for, like, call it Flat Earth 2.0, to go back and find pictures of old cosmologies, and they're all basically the same. It doesn't matter what house of religion or house of faith you're from, it showed basically the same thing. And it was really just one click of the computer button once the internet was up and running. We're like, hey, look, these guys thought it was something different. Maybe we got to look at that. That's how thin the veil was between the old cosmology and the one they wanted to create. You know, these guys, they had Dianetics and Scientology. They're all of the same ilk, trying to create new religions for power. And when you see that they were all in bed together, you could see how it went down.
They literally were all in bed together. I bet you they were all literally. Also, we can get clear pictures of the things that are happening with the Mars rover, but
Allegedly.
we can't find our U-Haul.
Yeah, we can't find our U-Haul in like 500-mile radius, but we can certainly take pictures of rocks on Mars.
It baffles me. It baffles me. Also, I just like to thank you everybody for donating and sharing and all of that. I just wanted to pop that in there. I really appreciate it, and I'm gonna stop now because I'll cry.
Okay.
Before we go any further, I just want to say I'm so sorry that's happened to you guys. Obviously, it's the first I've heard of it. I can't imagine what that must be like.
It's devastating.
What have the police said? What have the company said? What's
it's going poorly. It's going poorly so far.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's so many things to say about it, and I don't want to take up any of your time on this show to talk about it because there's so many pieces to the story that I'm gonna start doing a TikTok lore story. U-Haul famous. I don't understand if you're even a person who would, why would you? I don't want to talk about it anymore.
Yeah. So anyway.
Sorry, well, yeah.
Listen,
I get fear about my suitcase getting lost at airports, so I can't even begin to
They
imagine.
stole our home. They didn't
yeah.
steal just our U-Haul or our stuff.
Yeah.
They literally stole our whole home, and we went through that whole entire loft, and we picked our most prized possession things that that brought us so much joy. And those things are going to mean nothing to somebody but my great uncle's Purple Heart means a lot to me from World War II. My Aunt Marion's Kodachrome slides and her camera that she took it with means a lot to me. Like all of Lowry's posters, my cameras, the vintage cameras, my wardrobe. I can't just go to Target and just replace those things. This is things that we've collected over the last 2 decades of our lives. And whoever did that, I feel really sorry for them because they must have no soul.
Yeah. There's some sadly, it feels like we're living in dystopia, certainly in the UK at the minute.
That leads me to something because this is what I wanted to ask you about.
Yeah.
What's going on, number one, on the streets in the UK, insofar as just social upheaval, but also as far as FE land, and maybe you can take us through some of that and just kind of tell us what's going on over there.
Right. Okay. Well, I should say.
By the way, Edinburgh is I love that city. I've spent a little bit of time there, and it's.
Listen, it's obviously
it is literally magic.
Obviously, I'm completely biased, but and I know people will talk about Venice or whatever.
Oh, no.
But for me, our capital city is so stunningly historic and beautiful. And I mean, which other city could you have an extinct volcano in the center of the city with a medieval castle on the top of it? Another extinct volcano to the east of it, Arthur's Seat, with incredible views, and not many people. The beautiful beaches that we've got.
They're so pretty.
The Pentland Hills, to the west. It's everyone who comes to the city falls in love with the place. I can't. And even though I've been back home for 13 years now, I still feel like a tourist, and I don't begin to even understand. I don't know anything about architecture, but I'm just drawn to beautiful buildings. And you look at these horrible things that we build now, these disgraceful, awful, soulless buildings that we all build now. And you look at. We used to do this back when there was no cranes and it was just people with chisels. No. If you go back to the whole Tartaria stuff, and
it's all there.
It's
and
all there.
the cool thing about Edinburgh too, like the first time I was there, we were trying to figure out how to get to this one restaurant, and it was where
Yeah.
like I don't remember what it's called, but it was like not very far from the Mile, but
The Royal Mile, yeah.
the Royal Mile, yeah. And so there's a lot of streets that are there. It's you can't make a 2D map of the city.
Yeah.
Because all of the streets are they kind of like converge, and so
Yeah.
it would tell us to go here and go there and go there, and I'm like, oh, it thinks we're on the bridge, we got to go down there. And
Yeah.
I just stopped using like the actual Google Maps.
And you've got the two sides of the city. You've got the old town, and then obviously the new Georgian side, and it's just the contrast between them. It's just it's incredible. And I'll just like I could talk about Edinburgh just till it's just you just sense it.
Public transportation is free, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's free, and they have like two. Oh, you guys are pounds, right? Are you pounds still? Or are you
we usually have
pounds?
British UK currency. Yeah.
UK. So yeah, £2 brie at the little Tesco with like £3 wine. I mean, it's pretty affordable.
Yeah, I mean, I would say to anybody, definitely, if you're going to come visit the UK, forget about London. Come straight, come to Scotland. Yeah, and it's a great, it's a great place to head up to the Highlands from. Start with Edinburgh and then go
Isle of
north.
Skye.
Yeah, all of it. It's stunning.
My
sorry,
Edinburgh, my felt blanket that was like I loved that felt tartan like print blanket, and I had like thigh high sky. I might send you like some things to pick up for me and send here to the
definitely.
States,
I can do that, no problem.
The socks there and like the clothes there and the blankets there are amazing.
I should have said what I should have began with is like hello from 1984 Orwellian United Kingdom.
Take us through what's happening there. We need to get some information.
Do you know one thing? The one thing I'm shocked about the most is that Scotland in particular, like the land of William Wallace, freedom, is the worst. They've brought this legislation out. There's so many people being arrested for just writing stuff on Facebook. I'm surprised that I'm so surprised I've not had a knock at the door yet. It's frightening. It's frightening. They've brought this legislation in, which is so subjective. It's like if somebody can be offended by what you're saying, it's like if someone gets offended.
That's for real?
Yeah. If
I
somebody
thought like a teacher said something and she got arrested. I thought it was like a joke.
No, it's real. If somebody is offended by something you've posted online and they make a formal complaint to the police, you will get arrested.
That's a real deal.
They'll take you in. They'll question you. It's scary. I'm so shocked that Scotland, of all places, but it's so woke over here. It's so woke. You've got the Scottish National Party in charge, and I mean, obviously, all politicians are corrupt. It's by the nature of the beast, but even more so. And I used to be the only thing I've ever got interested in politics for, and I've never voted in any other kind of election because obviously we know it's all a show. It's the illusion of choice, right? It's two wings of the same bird, right? It's pretty I pretty much say that it's obviously the same in America, and people think that Elon Musk and Trump are the saviors and all this stuff, but they're just it's all a show. And but the only thing that I got involved with because I wanted Scottish independence from the United Kingdom, and obviously they used a lot of fear tactics to scare people, and obviously a lot of people voted against it. So it's just that's the only time I got drawn into any of that stuff. But I'm just in general, the United Kingdom is. I mean, am I allowed to swear?
It's of course.
Yeah, it's fucked. It's so fucked. Immigration. I mean, that's a worldwide problem. This illegal immigration. That there's so many boats coming over in the south every single day. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, and they're literally putting them in. They're literally putting them in brand new 5-star hotels. Meanwhile, we've got food banks and endless poverty and children living, especially in Scotland, children living in kind of abject poverty. Homelessness is out of control. Drug and alcohol addiction, especially in Scotland, is out of control.
the country's in absolute shambles. The UK in general, it's just an awful dystopian place right now. Whatever you think about politics and the show, we all watched over here as Trump and who's his number two? What's he called again? Vance. They kind of had Zelensky in the Oval Office, and they were like, "You're not going to get any more money," and all this stuff. Kicked him out, whatever. But he comes straight to the UK. And like, even though we've got all those things, homelessness, children starving, food banks everywhere, we imagine, and they're even taking. We've got a thing over here for the elderly. Every Christmas, not Christmas, but every winter they get a payment for their gas and electric to help them through those months. They've taken that off. They've taken that payment off the elderly. Told them because they couldn't fund anymore. There was no money in the coffers to do it, but in the same breath, we're signing treaties and signing contracts with Zelensky to send another £2.4 billion to Ukraine. It's madness.
It is.
Yeah,
madness.
we had a very similar. Well, we could see it right at street level in New York City. Is that there's always been a homeless problem in New York City. That's nothing new. But when you see the influx of, I think we had in 3 or 4 years, we had roughly 4 or 5 million people that were shipped into the city, were given rooms, hotels, everything else, and like bank cards to spend money, while citizens who actually had driver's license, who were homeless on the street, were left there. So you had this whole replacement thing that was happening. It was clearly political. Now, a lot of people out in the Midwest can't see that because it doesn't happen at enough of a degree that it's noticeable by the average person. Well, in New York, because there's so many people, we saw it on the subways, on the streets, everywhere. Like there were people coming in from Mexico that were staying in 5-star hotels downtown, may still be staying there, endless spending cards. And you had people who were citizens in New York City who were barely able to make rent. And that's when it really became visible, at least in New York City, that there was something afoot. And I think, is that something that's going on over there as well? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I lost my job and I was tempted to go down to the Roosevelt Hotel and be like, no habla inglés.
Pretend like you're Spanish.
Yeah, and pretend like I was from like that.
And yeah, I mean, a lot of people over the decades of because for a long time we had the Conservatives who were in charge, and everyone hates the Tories, and it was so bad. But then we've got this Keir Starmer guy who's just he's the devil incarnate. He's just this guy was the guy who was in the head of the Crown Prosecution Service when one of the most prolific pedophiles. What's his name again? Jim.
I don't know.
I forgot his name. He's one of the most prolific pedophiles in the celebrity world.
Was that guy?
Savile.
Jimmy Savile. Yeah.
Jimmy Savile. Yeah. And so he was in charge of the Crown Prosecution Service at the time when people were looking into him, and he did nothing. He did nothing. It was an open secret at the BBC that he was doing these things. So many people were involved in covering that whole thing up, this prolific pedophile. And to this day, I mean, you just have to look at the guy now. You instantly, how did nobody question that back in the day? He's quite clearly a pedophile. And yeah, so he was in charge of that. And he's just an awful human being. And I just have such a disdain for politicians in general, and I'm not sure, and certainly how they acted during this kind of the virus that we had for 3 years, whatever you want to call it. Certainly how they acted.
Can we set up like a GoFundMe for your future bail or something like that? Because I need to talk shit about politics.
Maybe it's always a risk. It's always a risk. But I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. I don't mind telling you, but unfortunately, one of the reasons why I do what I do, why I feel so passionate, and I will never stop speaking out, is that let's not talk about the V. I was never ever going to. From day one, this is nonsense. I'm not doing it. But the mother of my child, she was working for a nursing home for the elderly. And she's one of these people. So many people work in that job. It's just a job. They don't care about the elderly. It's, they're just doing a job, right? But she actually cared about the elderly. She loved that job. It's not skilled. It wasn't high paid, but she loved the job. She loved looking after the elderly and helping them. They're not nice places. Lots of people sitting there with dementia and health issues. A lot of them is just like a waiting room for death. I can't imagine working somewhere like that. But she did it. She didn't want to. She was a healthy 40-year-old mother of 3. She wasn't scared of being sick. She didn't want to take any V's. She's always known my mind. She came to me about it. And I was like, listen, don't do it. It's not worth it. At the time, there was an NHS mandate that everybody who worked in that industry had to take it, or they lose their job. There was 100,000 doctors and nurses who didn't want to do that. And I said to her, listen, don't do it. They're trying to scare everybody into doing it. The NHS has fallen apart anyway. I call it the National Homicide Service now. They're not going to sack 100,000 doctors and nurses or all these people who work in nursing homes. They're just using this fear to make you take it. Just hang on. But her employers, her evil employers, her employers, even her peers, even her friends at the nursing home were just coercing her. The typical rhetoric of you're selfish, you're going to kill all these old people, you're a danger to everyone. And I genuinely thought she'd listen to me, and she wasn't going to do it. But she went quiet, and I found out subsequently that they just threatened her so much with that job. She didn't want to lose her job, and she just was sick of the hassle that she was getting. They totally coerced her into doing it.
I was just going to say that's coercion, and
it's
illegal in the UK.
Yeah, they coerced her 100%. They coerced her. And she bent to it, and she took 2. I think it was the Pfizer, and a few months later, out of nowhere, no history of it in the family, healthy 40-year-old. She's got stage 3 breast cancer. Now, is it plausible? Is it plausible in these modern days that a 40-year-old could get breast cancer? Of course it is. Of course that could happen. But when you put it in the context that the fact, I don't know if you heard the term over in the States, turbo cancer.
Yes.
Are you hearing that same term? Just the fact that that's even a term. I've just seen
that never existed, but before on all the years that I've come up in, that word was new in the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Just new.
The weather too.
Never existed.
You guys have been getting hit with like crazy weather.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. We haven't even crossed over in that subject yet, but
it was never heard. It was never heard of. It was never heard of, and it was the most. And I'm sorry, this is kind of. I don't want to bring the vibe down or anything, but it's important to my story.
Yep.
I've never seen anything so aggressive out of nowhere. So aggressive. Her family panics. They won't listen to me, obviously, but I'm just a crazy conspiracy theorist. The doctors told her only chance was to take chemo, and do you know what? It was. We all know what that stuff is. We all know what that stuff is, and to see what that did to her, it was the most awful. It ravaged her. It didn't prolong her life. It didn't help her in any way. It just made her last few months in this hospital. Just watched what this beautiful woman went through. What me and my daughter watched this person go through. We wouldn't want an animal to go through. It was disgusting. And people can. I'm not a pathologist or whatever. I didn't do tests on her body. Of course, it's plausible that could have happened on us. But when you put in the context of how many hundreds of thousands of people, young women, have I seen GoFundMe's being set up for because they've all randomly got stage 3, stage 4 turbo cancers out of nowhere. I truly believe with all my heart that that's whether her. Obviously, my daughter and her family don't want to talk about this, but I firmly believe with all my heart that that's what happened to Emma, and they forced her to do it. And where are these managers at of this nursing home? Where are they at? Has it even crossed their mind that that's what happened? And I just want somebody to be held accountable. Will it happen? I'm not sure, but there's millions of people have either died or been injured. and they can't hide. It's just it's so big now. I watched a video of this guy who was the head of the CDC on a podcast the other day, and he was free. I think he was talking to
That
Tucker
guy's
Carlson.
a dick.
Yeah, he's a dick, but he's talking. He's talking to Tucker Carlson. No, it wasn't Tucker Carlson. Anyway, he was talking to somebody, and he said the guy was like, "So how long did you go? Like, from what point did you guys realize that it didn't stop you from getting it? It didn't stop you from spreading?" And they were like, "From the beginning, we knew from the beginning." That's not like, how can someone openly just say that something that's openly been the cause of killing so many innocent people?
That's crimes against humanity.
It is. It's genocide. It's genocide.
It's genocide. Exactly. It's genocide. And I like that. I had no idea that happened to you. My condolences.
Yeah, I'm
like,
sorry
so
to hear
much.
that, man.
How is your daughter?
Do you know what? It's been awful. It's been awful. I mean, any mother-daughter relationship is strong, but they in particular had this incredible relationship. She was an incredible mother, a fierce, incredible mother. And I always respected her for it. And the loss that my daughter's, it's been the hardest thing to hear her say, because she's going to graduate from university soon, to hear her say, my mum's not going to see me be 21. My mum's not going to see me graduate. My mum's not going to be at my wedding.
Oh, she's not
my mum's not going to be a grandmother. It's been, the last 2 years have been just awful. But you know what? Right in this minute, she's in a good place. Every day is different. She's got a boyfriend who loves her, who's been a rock. I love this guy. She's going to graduate from university soon. Obviously, that's my. I feel like a hypocrite sometimes because obviously we know what the education, the indoctrination system is, but at the same time, I'm still proud of her for graduating. So I know it's a contradiction in terms sometimes, but she's the resilience for somebody so young. The fact that she, even after going through the most losing your mother, the most traumatic thing, that she nursed her mother every single day, watched her go through the most traumatic, awful experience of her life. Just she didn't want to get out of bed. She didn't want to function, but she still had to go to university. She still got up every single day. She went to the schools for her placements, and she's just writing her dissertation now, and I'm so obviously I'm totally biased. She could be a school teacher.
Okay. Then your daughter is going to change the world and teach.
I hope so. Yeah, she didn't.
Mm-hmm.
She didn't take no. She didn't take any V's. I'm so proud of her for doing that as well. And yeah, she's in a good place right now. She's going to graduate. She's going to go off travel. She's going to go off traveling. She's got a lovely boyfriend. I already know that no matter whatever she chooses to do, she's going to be happy and successful. And there's ups and downs. There's going to be days where she's going to miss out. Like, well, see, we've just recently had Mother's Day. There's going to be days that are difficult. But do you know what? I already, no matter what happens, she's done this in her mother's memory, and I've told her live your best life for your mom, because she's watching you from above.
She's right there.
Yeah.
Well, we send her best from over here, and we don't believe in coincidences here at the Sombreros. So
dad and a widow and all of the things like that is your daughter is what to live for. You know. You have to be strong. And
of course
plays a big role. So good job on your resilience too.
Yeah, I think certainly. I think we're all guilty of it sometimes, right? Thinking that I don't in life, I don't have the material things I thought I would have at this point, or blah. But you know what? Sorry, yeah. But sorry, I wasn't being blasé about that either.
No, I know. It's just that.
But you know what? One thing is that's really changed is the passing of Emma. Do you know what? If you don't have your health, you have nothing. None of it means anything. You know, obviously, I know you guys are devastated. You can't replace that stuff. But you guys are here. You're healthy. You have your life. I am truly blessed. Number one, to have my health. I know that Emma would give anything to be in my life. So would have my life to be with her daughters. So the fact that I would ever even be upset, I'm upset my life's not as good as what I thought it would be. No, I have my health. I have this beautiful human being who calls me dad, who she's my angel sent from above. I'm so blessed.
Aw.
She's been the best thing that's ever happened to me. And being a father is, I'm richer than any money could ever make me. And that's changed my whole kind of view of life, to be fair, you know?
That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
just speaking to that, like I was talking to Alex like right after we found out and we were trying to figure out everything with the U-Haul. I was like, you know what, if somebody held a gun to my head and told me to choose between our stuff and you, I would choose you. And there's no way that,
of course.
you know, like I'm
Of course,
glad that we're safe.
Yeah, of course, and it's going to sting. It's going to hurt for a while, and even when you remember those personal artifacts that you've had, and you're never going to truly get over it because you can't replace those things. But like you say, you're healthy, you're safe. You know, you can replace some things.
Yeah, they can steal
Indeed.
our stuff, but they can't take away our talent. They can't take away our artwork. They can't take away.
I still know how to play guitar, baby.
Or our resilience.
Exactly.
And they can't take away our love. They can't take us away.
Yeah.
So
And
I have this weird, like you were speaking about spirituality, but I'm a pretty spiritual person, I would say. I was kind of really upset that all of my tarot cards and my crystals and all of that stuff are all in that truck, but it's fine. I can get those again because they're all.
Yeah, your story puts it into a great perspective for us, James. I really appreciate hearing that.
Yeah, no, sorry if I didn't want to bring the vibe down, but it's an important kind of link to why I feel so strongly about this, and they can come knock my door down, lock me up. I'm never going to stop talking about this. I want somebody that what they've committed is a worldwide genocide, and I want somebody to be held accountable for it.
Indeed, and
multiple
I agree with that
people need to be
100%.
accountable.
Let's take a quick break here. I'm going to play. Nico always finds these interesting videos. It's not really on topic, but this kind of breaks it up a little bit, and then we're going to jump into Effie Land in the UK when we come back. I want to find out what's going on at the street level over there with either your friends that are coming over to the thing, because we don't hear much about the UK. We know there's a bunch of people over there that are into it. I want to know what's going on over there, but let's take a quick break. Everybody, I always tell everybody get up from the computer, but let's watch this. This is about 4 minutes or so, and then we will be back very shortly, guys.
Yeah, the reason I thought this was interesting is because there's a lot of talk about the Antarctic, but there really isn't anything that I've ever seen on like vintage wise of the Arctic, and somehow GM got up there and dug a pole.
There we go. We'll be back in a minute, guys.
In 1958, the United States submarine Nautilus crossed the Arctic Ocean submerged. The cruise proved the Arctic to be a usable operating area for nuclear submarines, but one with many unique characteristics. Today, we know very little about this ocean, but should submarine warfare become important in the area, we need to know more. Sonar, the ears of submarine and anti-submarine forces, depends on underwater sound. More knowledge of underwater sound in the Arctic is the objective of this research program. We made our permanent station on Ice Island T3, which is drifting 450 miles north of Barrow, Alaska. Unlike the pack ice, the ice island never breaks up. It is ideal for permanent installations, such as our Demas project. The T3 camp is at the edge of the ice island on Colby Bay, where the ice is 12 to 15 feet thick and is also protected by the island from breakup. We spotted our array site 1/2 mile out, far enough to avoid man-made sounds from the camp. The complete array system consists of hydrophone holes accurately positioned by theodolite survey and equally spaced around the circumference of the circle. Hydrophones are lowered to 100 feet. Seismometers are frozen into the ice at the bottom of each hole. Radial cables connect all the holes to the array wanagon in the center. Finally, the telemetry cable runs to the electronics trailer at the main camp. This actual scene from the air shows the permanent installation. The system enables formation of preformed beams arranged equally over 360 degrees of bearing. The Demas processor provides a wide selection of averaging times and frequency discrimination for underwater signal analysis. While installing the Demas system, we sent a second party to Arliss 4, a temporary station on the pack ice about 100 miles from Barrow. The stations, 360 miles apart, were linked by radio telephone. At T3, the field crew leader receives the call and arranges for sound signal. One of the experiments on Arliss 4 required signals to reach that hydrophone from considerable distance. The crew on the Demas site at T3 participated. These signals are generated by Mark 61 underwater sound sources detonated under the ice at specific intervals. Explosions from the 2-pound TNT bombs detonated hundreds of feet below station T3 are picked up by the electronics equipment at Arliss 4. Only the low-frequency sounds are received. The rough undersurface of the ice scatters higher frequencies. Ambient noises heard and analyzed include the creaking and popping of ice, voices of seals and whales, and many other sounds not yet identified. With the Demas system permanently established at T3 and the Arliss 4 work completed, the GM Defense Research Laboratory's expedition of 1965 completed its installation task for the year.
We are getting a
I don't think it's a tornado. I think it's a tornado alert.
I couldn't hear what it said.
Oh, it was just because NDB is he is in the emergency services here in the county, and whenever stuff comes through, I don't think there's any.
NDB, number one fan.
Yeah.
Emmy Lou, number one fan.
Let's check this out real quick before we come back. There's something this is in the Denver airport, and we already know there's like a lot of interesting things that happen in that airport from our standpoint of curious onlookers. And this is something Nicole found. I think a lot of you guys have seen this, but let's have a look at this. This is really interesting. This is a new installation at the Denver airport that maybe some of you have seen, maybe some of you haven't. Let's this.
NDB, maybe this is why they wouldn't let you fly to Denver.
To Denver, yeah. They're like, no NDB here. Let's check this out.
I'm at the Denver airport with a new art installation in the center of the airport. I'm up here with the world. The South Pole, there is a gate.
Oop.
Oh, wait. Sorry. There we go.
And then around the world is sand. At the North Pole, there's this pole that leads up to this arrow. The arrow points down to what it looks like perhaps a firmament, to a train station. I should also mention the world is depicted as flat over there. From the train station, from the arrow, we come down here.
Now, everybody, this is an art installation. Make sure,
quote
that
unquote,
that this is an art installation.
Again, surrounded by rocks and sand. Maybe this is where the lizard people live.
Lizard people.
Okay, you can stop this now because it just basically doesn't do
Okay. Yeah. So like, everybody knows there's a lot of weird shit that happens out there. So for those of you just joining us, we have James Robertson from the Loft Project in Edinburgh. Am I saying it right?
Edinburgh.
Edinburgh. What if I say Edinburgh?
Edinburgh.
So loads of people like Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Actually,
yeah.
That's an Edinburgh. Edinburgh.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, and like I think a lot of people are really, really curious because a lot of us talk to people over the pond, but we don't get as much content from over there, and we get mostly fed bullshit over here. We have to search for the actual stuff we want to look at. But like, tell us in terms of like, do you go to meetups or do you have like people that you meet up with in person in Edinburgh that are of your ilk, of the things that you're talking about, and tell us, like, is there a groundswell? What's going on over there?
I mean, in the UK in general, there's a huge flat Earth contingent. I've not been to meetups in Scotland per se, although of course there obviously are flat earthers here. But in the UK in general, there's a huge amounts of flat earthers. At the minute, we're just kind of reeling at this whole scandal happening in the States with flat Earth. Like these, during my awakening, Jaron was one of the first people that I came across. It was Mark. I actually had Mark Sargent on the show a couple of weeks back, and it was Mark Sargent and his clues that kind of, I mean, again, you know yourself, in this kind of movement, this truth community, it's quite toxic at times. There's a lot of ego. There's a lot of jealousy. The word shill gets thrown around left, right, and center like confetti. Shill. It's like people calling each other a narcissist. It gets used all the time.
Yeah, shill is the new Nazi.
Yeah. It really is. So Jaron Campanella was one of the first people that I came across, and like he spent like a good part of a decade just like doing in-depth, especially into NASA, just exposing NASA and just flat Earth in general. And for him to go down to Antarctica and do this final experiment, whatever it was, and suddenly after all these years, just because of lights in the sky, turn around and say that, go back to the globe and flat Earth is a cult. Not only him, who else was it? Patricia Steer. Who's the guy who did the conference?
Robbie.
Yeah, Robbie and Paul on the plane. Like 4 people who have been like kind of up here in the kind of FE hierarchy, if you want to call it that, for all 4 of them to randomly out of the blue just turn their back on. Like for me, you never go back, right? No one's ever went back. Once you know the truth, the lie of the heliocentrism and the ball Earth, and how can you ever? Nobody ever goes back the other way. I've never experienced that ever. And for these,
oh my God, what if they're dead and they cloned them?
Oh my God!
I mean,
this is a serious.
I mean, listen, like I always say to conspiracy music guru, anything's plausible. Anything.
Hello, no.
I think the operating word of the hour, at least the one I like to use, is it's just curious. It's weird. What you're talking about.
Curious.
Well, I use it in tongue in cheek.
Let's call it curious.
It's an understatement. It's an understatement. But yeah, there is the Epiland is experienced what I would consider like an attack by I would say a group of people, identifiable perhaps, can't identify them yet other than their faces that are showing themselves on the internet. It's under attack, and it's very clear that it's under attack. And this is the standard, call it intelligence subversive attack, where you get everyone to fight with each other, and it's clear that's what they're doing. They might even be watching this show to pick up little things that we're going to say so they can edit it into their documentary coming up, so that they can take it out of context and edit it so it makes us look terrible. That's a possibility.
Yeah. Let's all flip them off.
What it is. What's that?
I said let's all flip them off.
But over here, we're all watching it in live time, and it's just like obviously Witsit for me was like the way he would debate, how eloquent he was, and how the way he would debate. I just felt like he was the poster boy for flat Earth, and he could argue anyone, just get his points across to anyone. But even he went down there and got involved with the whole vape gate.
Yeah, that was something, right? I mean, the amount of drama, it was almost like watching TMZ every day from November on to almost to where we're at right now. It was every little thing became content for every single person that's in the community, and they just jumped on it to get people to come to their channels or to generate more views and this sort of thing. And what it became was this nasty little cauldron of what ultimately the people attacking this community wanted, which was a bunch of people fighting with each other. And I am I think a lot of people are agreeing, at least in some of the circles I run in, we're finished with this shit. And everybody out there that's like listening, don't give them anything. They're just looking for little, they're just like little demons looking for little drips that they can use, and they can use it and they can put it in their little editing and they can make you look bad. Just fuck them. I mean, just fuck them. You know, because that's
So
what
are
they're
you
doing.
saying I should call and cancel Duffy from coming on Tinfoil Sombrero?
Oh my God, we never had him on, and then we will never have him
Okay,
on unless he
I'm
just
gonna
wants to
call
come in the
Duffy
chat.
Duff.
You know,
Let's just call him. He's just a duff. That is the part. He is evil, literally.
Oh, you just
Evil.
look at him. Just look at
No,
his
he
energy.
literally is a lizard person that lives in the
Yeah,
sand.
yeah. Now, so okay.
they're
again,
going to use that, Nicole.
I don't want to really go on and on about, but where do you stand on it? Right? Do you think there's two trains of thought? Right? They've been compromised in some fashion, or they were just from the beginning. I mean, that's a long game.
Oh, I'm
for
going with
Jared.
the clone theory.
That's
what
the
I'm
long
going
game.
with.
All right, there's three. We've got clone. He was like they've been compromised. They're clones, or they were a plant from the beginning. That's the long game. 'Cause he's
Okay,
been
yeah,
doing this
Chad. You know, A, they were, shills from the beginning. B, they were compromised. Or C, they're clones. Or D,
You give
none
them
of the
two
above.
clone choices.
because
I did.
what
I clone. Sorry.
now because now I've noticed over here every single media clip is famous flat earther now knows the earth is a globe. It's just like it's been so weaponized over here. And do you guys think it's damaged flat earth in general?
No, not even remotely close. I think they have
it's making
opened
it better.
Pandora's box, and they've actually, because as far as the community that I know, I call it FE land because some people don't like the term community. Like, if anything, it has brought together. I think in this community are some of the greatest minds I've ever known in my life. And I'm very discerning about that crap. I'm like, you're not making sense, and I'm going to find out why you're not making sense. Well, if you put a bunch of people that are that discerning together in a hive mind situation, they will shred anything to the point where it might even hurt themselves. They will shred it. They will shred it. And you put a bunch of people like that together, which is what we've got, for good or bad. There's a lot of people in this community that just say some stupid shit, and they'll but you put them all together, and then one single operating unit fighting against whoever these people are that are trying to drop a hand grenade in the community, they will shred them.
Yeah.
1,000,000%. And you're seeing it now. It's happening slowly. Obviously, you're not getting fed that in your feeds, but if you bounce around to different circles, everybody's analyzing every last little bit of every sort of attack that's coming into this community, and they're shredding it. And all they have is very high schoolish tactics to try to pull out little bits that you have to say, and they'll re-edit it into something and say you did something else, which is just so high school. It's bullshit.
Yeah.
Well, because they ran out of content. Like there's nobody creating the content. Now they're recreating all of the movies. They're making the follow Ghostbusters. I think they're actually filming a new Back to the Future, which is gonna be...
no,
Yeah.
They can't do that.
No,
I'm serious. I heard that there's the Ghostbusters stuff. There's, have you remember Die Hard when they had the sequel and everybody was grew up during the sequels of them? The kids got older and the parents got older and they aged. And it showed but that now they're just recreating it and they're just oh, here's this stupid, and then all the Disney stuff that they're recreating, Snow White just bombed at the box office.
Yeah.
But to your point, Nicole, and I can speak to that, is as far as it relates to FE, they cannot exist without us. They need us. And we're just presenting, here's what's measurable. Here's what I observed. This is the world that it feels like I'm walking around in, and the default position is that we're not moving.
Yeah.
And we're sticking to that.
Yeah. You can go. I could go outside tonight and just look and just lie on my back and look at the stars. Which part of I'm looking at? I can only speak from my lifetime, 47 years of just seeing the same constellations, the same stars in the same position in the night sky that I've always. There's nothing about my everyday experiences that would tell me that we're allegedly hurtling through infinite space. All these different movies. Obviously, we're spinning at the equator at 1,000 miles an hour, while simultaneously kind of, orbiting the sun at 66,000 miles an hour, and then chasing the sun through the Milky Way. All these ridiculous movements and speeds, but their only answer to that, well, it's all relative. Everything's moving at the same time, so you won't. It's like, wow, really.
And to speak to that too, and like I've been doing a lot of thinking about this lately, because a lot of people like to defer to the sky to talk about the ground. We all know these arguments, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And I basically sat back and I was like, what were the basic cornerstones of my thinking about what's happening in this thing that we've suddenly found ourselves in the last 10 years? What are we walking around on? What are we, ambling about? What is this place that we live inside of? No motion, no measurable curvature, can't have gas pressure without a container. These things are like,
we have emotion.
That you're in the spiritual side, but yes, that counts too. But like the basics, they can't do anything about that. They can't debunk it. They cannot come at us with anything. So it's always a deflection to the sky. It's always a deflection to some sort of other thing that has nothing to do with the fact that you walk around something that isn't moving.
Yeah.
And if you know that and you stick to the basics, you've got your arguments. And if they can't counter that, you don't have to address their sky arguments. Their arguments about shit they see in the sky. You can look up in the sky and you can see 6 stars, and you could connect them and say, that's the 6-legged cow that only eats on Saturdays. And you can infer that, and you could say, well, because of that, the earth is round. Anything you want to say, as long as you're talking about the sky. It has nothing to do with what you're walking around on, and they will never be able to attack that.
Yeah,
ever.
Of course, it's broken logic. It's like if you needed a new carpet for your bedroom floor, would you measure the light bulb? Would you look at the light bulb? It's just, like you say, complete deflection. And like the likes of Jaron, they've always kind of, even himself, always preached that nothing happening in the sky, lights in the sky have no relevance when we're discussing the alleged sphericity or of sphericity. Sorry, I couldn't say the words properly. Of the ground beneath our feet. Let's literally talk about the ground beneath our feet. You live in a ball, yet you cannot.
Let's not say that
demonstrate
name
curvature.
ever again. We can't say that name ever again because they're coming in for it.
They're gonna come for it.
That's true. That's true.
I just want to prevent you from getting arrested over there in Scotland.
I know.
I'm already on a list. I'm already on some list somewhere, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
Yes. I mean, I'm sure I'm on a list too. Probably on like a lot of them, considering I never shut up about. I mean, I have lately, but I've been pretty vocal about a lot of things in my life and to my family and everything. And I lucked out having a family that is very unconditionally loving, and they don't judge. And I feel like if the world, woke up to unconditional love, and maybe it's harder because there's a lot of people alive that have never really experienced that unconditional love or that value that you have with the person or your family, and that support. And knowing that I have my family to always fall back on is awesome. But I wish that everybody would get that experience. But Earth is a school, and we came here, and we all chose it.
I mean, do you know? And I know I'm a hypocrite because we're using technology. We're using technology now, but I'm so glad that I grew up in the 80s and the 90s, and we literally as kids we'd play outside and.
They messed up with Gen X.
There was no computers. There was no telephones. We just lived, and I feel sorry for the young people today. I feel like these black mirrors of just people. It's just ruined the world. To be fair, and it's just like social media, and I know we all use it as a weapon. We try to use their own platforms against them, but. It's just ruined the world. Where are we right now? It's certainly, like I said to you before, it certainly feels like 1984 Orwellian dystopia in the United Kingdom. I can't speak for America, but it's it's
I
awful.
can't believe that that cursive is not taught anymore.
No more
Like,
cursive. Hey,
people who are
Andrew.
raised now
Hey,
will never-
sorry
Hi,
for
Andrew.
being late.
James, meet Andrew B.
Andrew B.
Hey,
shout
what's up,
out to
man?
you.
How you doing? You all right?
I'm doing great. Yeah.
Cool, man.
Took a nap and overslept, so that's what happened.
Andrew is the one who started the GoFundMe for us, and I just want to send you my gratitude.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you so much.
Yeah,
my pleasure.
No, fair play.
We've been talking about Effie in the UK, and a little bit of the drama. Although we're going to kind of move away from it because I think people are starting to get a little bit tired of it, and I am too. But how you been, Andrew?
Oh, I'm doing great. Just been writing trivia questions and kind of staying low key for the most part.
Can we talk about the tariffs for a second? Because
I don't know anything about it, so you can fill me in because
Okay.
I don't know shit about
I
it.
don't either, but apparently Trump put tariffs on Herd and McDonald Island, and I saw this TikTok where somebody actually like found McDonald Island, which is like a dot in a dot in a dot. They had to like go through a bunch of dots on Google Earth in order to find the actual island, and all there's on it is penguins.
Yeah. We're gonna tax all those pebbles that they go and collect.
Oh my gosh. They are. Those are the ones. Those are the ones that they steal pebbles.
That's along the lines of the law that says you can't talk to dolphins.
But hold on.
That's true, right? That's actually a law, right? You're not allowed to talk to dolphins.
No, yeah,
that can't be a law.
To interact with the wild horses and with dolphins. Dolphins are telepathic. Dolphins are like, I wanted to be a dolphin when I was a kid. I was obsessed with dolphins. Why is that funny?
Because you're funny, that's why.
I'm also obsessed with owls. And when I was in Scotland and I was in Edinburgh, I was walking down the Royal Mile, and there was this dude with a top hat, and he had an owl. And I was just oh my gosh. That guy?
That guy's there every single day for years.
I got to hold the owl, and he's like, "You're really good at getting tourists to take pictures." I'm like, "Hey." He's so cool. I'm so glad he's still there, because he was telling me how he was going to lose his birds because he had to move, but he raised eagles and falcons and Eurasian owls, and there was a Eurasian owl and a big barn owl. But
it's a big
it's
usually the big barn owl that I see up on the
barn
Royal
owl,
Mile.
and then there's the little
but he's still
Eurasian eagle owl.
Yeah, they're still
that guy,
they're still
he is so cool. I have a whole bunch of video of him. Anyway,
that's pretty cool. Did you guys go up to the castle?
Oh yeah, I did the whole entire castle. I've been up to we walked through. So I went there twice. I went there with a friend who we did like the touristy stuff with, and then my old roommate from Brooklyn, she moved to Edinburgh, and so when I went traveling, it was the time that I went and met Alex on tour too in Germany, and so I went to Scotland right after that. And my old roommate, she has an apartment over. It's about like a mile-ish away from the Royal Mile. It's up close. She's like a block away from the beach up there.
Yeah, nice.
So pretty.
Yeah, it is.
And like you wouldn't even know that kind of area existed. So I got to stay with her for a few weeks, and it was just, she had just moved there. She goes to what's the college? What's the college up there? Like the
Which
fancy
one?
one.
Oh, Fets.
The art one.
It looks like Harry Potter's. It looks like Harry Potter Hogwarts.
Yeah, I think they filmed a lot of Harry Potter stuff up there.
Yeah, well, obviously she when she came up with the idea for the story when she was at university here. So, she wrote. There's actually a lot of you can go on the tour. Yeah, you can go to a lot in the center of the city. We've got like really ancient burial grounds, like old.
I did a whole entire tour of that.
Oh, well, that's where she took
down Jacob's Ladder.
Yeah, that's where she took all. That's where she took all the names for all the professors from the gravestones and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty cool.
Oh, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. It's how do you guys feel about, because obviously when you go down so many rabbit holes and you understand, you learn about Hollywood and all the pedophilia and all, can you still enjoy movies?
Certain ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't watch any Tom Hanks movies anymore. I used to love Tom Hanks movies, but I think once you know certain things, I can still enjoy it, because I used to love movies. I used to really love movies, going to the cinema and that whole experience. But I still enjoy them. I can still enjoy them, but it's taken away from it a little bit, I think.
I know what you're saying, because when it comes to that, I look at movies with a different perspective now.
Yeah.
Meaning that some movies I just know I'm gonna like this movie, but then I'm still looking for these small little types of hints that they're giving into it, and these these innuendos. And other ones I'm just not even gonna watch it, like the new Snow White movie. It's like one of the lowest fucking rated movies in history.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! But hold on, just watch that girl in interviews. She's crazy. She's crazy. She's like Meghan Markle 2.0.
Yeah, I mean they cancelled the premiere over here because she was just taught.
They canceled the premiere there.
Yeah, they cancelled the red carpet because she was such a loose, and she just totally rubbished the whole original story and said it wasn't about a love story anymore. It was about feminism. And
she's like,
how she's gonna she doesn't be a prince. I'm a boss bitch. You know what I mean? It's just like, what were they thinking?
It made me like watching the comparison of the two movies, like the live action. I don't understand why Disney started doing live action anyway. Even like I am a Disney, like I am a princess. Okay. I grew up on that shit. Now I understand what the red shoes mean. I understand there's the apple. There's so much symbolism that I can see it. But like even as a kid, I saw through it. Like when I was 12, I learned that, the priest in Ariel and the Little Mermaid had a boner, and we were like rewinding it to watch it. Like
and like, on Mickey Mouse, on Minnie Mouse is like a penis in the sky, and it's mad.
Sex in the Lion King and stuff. But you know what? The nostalgia of it, I love the nostalgia of it. Like the way that they created this world, this Disney world, it almost makes me feel like we've all been living in Westworld our entire lives, and the symbolism, and there's a lot of the same symbolism and patterns throughout the whole entire thing. And so my background as a photographer and prop stylist and set design, like I've had to do continuity on sets before, and so you have to keep those things like really like in, like your ducks have to be in a row, not like Donald ducks have to be in a row. But yeah, the symbolism and the colors, so my brain automatically just picks out those symbolisms, and I've always seen the patterns, how they overlay, and the way that they designed this whole entire Disney world for us is actually insanely brilliant, and it hypnotizes people, but once you see it, you can't unsee it.
No.
If you look at it from the terms of like, say, if you're wanting to create a religion, just like any religions that get created, it starts with a myth story. It starts way back when. It takes a couple generations to do it. And once you have enough firepower behind it, especially if you have the #1 rocket scientist from Germany, you got the #1 fantasy maker from America. You got guys like JPL, Jack Parsons, and these guys are known occultists. You get all those guys in one room together, and it's like, look, we have a chance to make a religion, and we've got one guy in the Roman Catholic Church that's going to talk about the Big Bang. He's going to join up with us, and then you've got 5 figures. This is how religions are formed. The heliocentric model is a religion, and it was formed over generations. It's really clear to see it once you go all the way back, and especially you look at this old film rolls. We see a ball on film before anyone's even been to so-called outer space. You're like, how'd you know that? How'd you know that? How'd you know that it was a ball when all you had was a horse, according to your history? It's all this crazy shit.
With technology, like they convinced people of all of this stuff, but when you go back to those vintage films, those like the Arctic one that you just played, you're like, or the films that were filmed back then, they had to use animation techniques in order to do that. And so this was like Kodachrome. So they had people like cutting up little pieces and putting little pieces of film and then duping it and projecting it and then duping it and then filming it. And so they dupe it, project it, dupe it. So it's layers and layers of different technology. But when you look at it, you can see all these flaws and you're like, how did this convince people that we went to the moon?
Yeah, well, if you go back and look at any of the Apollo stuff now, it's so
funny.
Oh my god, it's laughable.
To think that tweaker tent could literally.
I know.
You can literally see the Scotch tape and the curtain rods.
Yeah.
And it's
It was the poorest production ever. Like the
Worst.
Beatles on the roof in London was a better production than any Apollo stuff that they've done.
But by the way, at least in 1969 to 72, they tried, right? They made an attempt to fool people. You look at it now with this whole SpaceX stuff. They don't even try.
They're not even trying.
They're not even trying. Did you see that the AI that capsule coming down and landing in the water and dolphins? It was all AI. It was all like completely the worst CGI I've
Wait
ever
a second.
seen.
Hold the phone. Hold the landline phone. One second. That called the moon. Hold the landline phone. There were dolphins at this.
Right. So when the Dragon capsule came back, when they dropped it from a plane or wherever they did, and it landed in the water, they showed it as close. It was 100% CGI,
Oh
but
my
they showed
God. They were
a
just
rescue
basically
boat.
skydiving.
They showed a rescue boat turn up, and then they were like, "Look, the dolphins have the dolphins have turned up to welcome them back."
Yeah, it's like from the Lord of the Rings. The eagles have come, only it's the dolphins, right? And it's like they just try to tweak your little emotions in your heart, your kid heart, and you're like, "Oh, there's dolphins there. It must be real,"
Yeah.
And then there's another thing you always notice.
Talk to them and touch them. So why the dolphins there?
Oh, but by the way, one thing that was really frustrating me, I don't know if you guys saw it, right? But people love to jump on bandwagons and they don't want to research, they don't want to look into something before they share it. I saw a lot of flat earthers sharing, it was the picture of this woman who was allegedly up there for 9 months with grey hair.
Suni Williams.
Grey hair.
Oh, the witch?
She's on the space center. Yeah, she's a witch. Definitely a witch. On the space station with grey hair, and then they're showing a picture underneath of her allegedly back on Earth with brown hair, like dyed hair. It was clearly a photograph from before they were supposed to have flown. It was clearly a photograph set before they were flying to the International Fake Station. But
Did you see the bit with her chin?
International Fake Station. I like
her.
that.
Did you see her chin? Her chin,
Yeah.
her chin got longer because of lack of gravity. That was some good shit. You got to give him credit for that one.
Like elongated. I was like, oh.
She literally, if you watch The Wizard of
Like
Oz,
she looked like the witch that was in the original Snow White.
she really did. Like, she did.
Her profile was the original witch in Snow White.
And the whole story that like they were originally supposed to just go for 8 days, but they've stayed for 9 months.
And then SpaceX swooped in and saved them.
Oh, Elon, yeah. Two things. First thing, what I've always found funny, I know people who are kind of awakened, whatever. They know about vaccines.
Oh.
And they know about all these rabbit holes and all these, but flat Earth's that one step too far for them.
Yeah,
It's
one
like-
bridge too far every time. It's just like, what's wrong with Effie? Is like, that's harmless, man. It's like, why is this such a big deal? Like, you guys are willing to talk about some of the most horrible atrocities that happen to children, but we're just talking about like what it looks like, and you're freaking the fuck out. I'm like, come on, dude.
It's too much. It's too far. It's too much. It's too far.
Yeah, something else about the International Fake Station. Like, what's the purpose of it?
No purpose.
What are they doing?
Velcro and Tang.
They're
Velcro
playing
and Tang.
guitar and they're trying to fucking. What are they doing?
For me personally, it's all about showing you the ball Earth. It's all about fake. Every single video that you watch, every single fake video that they do, they've been there. They allegedly be in space, flying around Earth at 17,000 miles an hour for 20 odd years. Whatever. Every single video they do, they have to do the somersault, or they have to have something. They have to show you something spinning or floating, because they have to convince you. It's always that fourth wall type of shit where they have to convince you that they're in space every single time.
Yeah, that's a good
And people
point.
are
And
so
I'll tell you-
gullible.
Yeah, you're going to bring that. That's a good point. This is something really important to talk about, because the idea to go to outer space, quote unquote, was to figure out things in zero gravity and learn how things work and create technology and do all this. And as far as I can tell, other than Velcro and Tang, what has come out of any of that crap? Nothing. It's just a facade.
Tony Williams' chin.
That chin was pretty good. I love that they got their Christmas stuff up there in between the time they were supposed to have been stranded, and then
it's like floating up, and then the other one where it's like
down.
Like,
down.
well, yeah.
I saw a clip from the.
It falls.
I saw a clip from the Chinese space station, and they were floating, but there was a glass of water.
Yeah, sitting on the table. I
Sitting
know.
on
I
the
saw it too. I know. What?
But like
I mean-
people are so gullible. They're like,
You
oh,
were-
Star Wars isn't real, but space is. Like,
It's
what? Like,
oh my
come
god! Did you guys see any of that? What was the name of that private company who allegedly landed a probe on the moon a couple of weeks
Yes.
back?
Oh, Blue Origin.
No, it was something else. Another private company.
It was another one.
Oh, that was they alleged it was only up for like 24 hours, and they were like they put something down on the moon. I thought it was on the moon. Right?
By the way, the footage was so bad, but it's every time they do something like that, it's the same format, right? They cut to the screen, they show you some CGI spaceship, right? Because they can't show you the real thing. They show you some CGI spaceship landing on a CGI moon, and then they always cut back to this control center.
Yeah,
They're
everyone's
always-
like,
yeah. It's the same. Yeah, it's always yeah. We landed. They're all wearing the same jumpsuit. They're all wearing the same headset, and they're all like, "Yay!" doing these awkward handshakes and dapping each other. It's like, what?
Dude, the Indian space program is the most hilarious one to watch of all. It's like watching Atari.
yeah.
It's Atari landing, and then everyone just like, and all the people are like, "Is it time to clap? Is it time to clap?" Oh yay! Oh yay! Like, it's like Atari fucking spaceship lands. I'm like, are we really? Is this serious? Is this clown?
Yeah,
world?
and they said they did it for $75 million, I think is what they said. Or is it 25 million? Some ridiculously low price.
Yeah, $75 million.
Whole one cost more than that.
I was having this. There's a guy at work who still wants to believe in the moon landings and stuff like that. Right? I was saying, right, okay, think about this logically. I was saying to this guy, right, if we could really go back to the moon, right, as human beings in general, as scientists, if you're going to land on the moon, where would you go? Which area on the moon would you go to? Would you just go to a random spot we've never been to? If let's say, this hypothetically say the moon landings happened, but in this entire time you had people saying, no, we didn't go. What would be the first thing you did? You'd go back to that exact where the Apollo 11 landed. You get photographs taken with the flag and all the stuff that they allegedly left behind. Wouldn't you? That would be the first thing you did.
Oh my god, that would be like a great selfie place to take.
Of course it would. You wouldn't
totally
just go to
Insta-worthy.
You wouldn't just go to a random other place because they can't do it. They can't show that stuff because people would instantly know it was nonsense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, you got to remember is that like the moon is tidally locked with the planet, and they're also shooting around the moon at 17,000 whatever miles an hour, and they also launch a thing off of it, and it goes down to the moon, it goes down and lands, and then it has to go back up and shoot off of a vacuum, and then realign with the lunar pod that's going around, and it meets it perfectly at high rates of speed, and then it jumps around the moon and it zooms back to Earth and magically lands in the ocean with dolphins. You're expected to believe that bullshit.
And they also had enough oxygen the entire time.
And apparently no air conditioning too. They just went without air conditioning, even though you had
I mean, if
200,
there's no
300
air,
degrees.
they couldn't be air conditioning.
Do you know?
Right?
So in regards to looking at movies and TV shows and stuff in a different perspective, there's this really popular one, Fallout. I shared this on Iron Man Media thing, but just take a look at this because if people are not familiar, this is just based off of the really, really popular video game that's been going on for like 30 years or something. And in this scene, this girl right here, she's the one that was living underground for 250, or after the nuclear war and all that kind of stuff. And the guy next to her, he was born on the surface, and she's never been to the surface before. This is like her first time. So watch how this plays out.
Is she a mermaid? Do you want to talk about mermaids next?
I know you do.
I mean, I used to be one, so I can speak on this.
Listen to what they say, and then watch what the very next scene right after this.
Okay.
It's only like maybe 15 seconds at most.
Okay. Do I need to share it? Is in the private chat, or are you sharing?
I was sharing. Okay, never mind. Anyways, she's basically just saying, because she's never been to the surface before, and
Send me the clip in private. I can share it if you can.
Well, I don't have it.
Email Andrew, email it to him. He can get it for email.
I want to see it. I want to see some stuff. I want to see some.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like
meanwhile,
clips.
shout out to the chat. Thank you, everybody,
Okay, well,
for being here.
it's a very specific part. Anyways, what they're doing is, she was born underground and he was born on the surface, and everything's in ruin now. And they're walking along these railroad tracks, and she's like, "So where are you guys at now? Is the Earth flat? Is the Earth round?" And I'm sharing my screen. I'm not sure why you're not able to.
Because he has to.
I don't see. Oh wait, never mind. I got it. Sorry. I thought you could do it from your end, but hold on.
No,
we're still operating on a very Band-Aid studio situation. So sorry, guys, but now you should be able to do. You should be able to play it.
Okay.
You got to roll one. Oh yeah, you got it. Okay, cool.
So, like, Earth is round, Earth is flat. Where are you guys at on that these days?
And
whoa,
globe.
Yeah.
Empty
globe.
And
Ooh,
pyramid.
globe placement.
Yeah.
And
what else is in there?
So there's these different, like, these bunkers,
Mhm.
and the bunker that she came from is bunker number 33.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's a really important point to actually talk about, which is globe placement. And I don't think a lot of people actually understand what globe placement is, as far as just how subtle the propaganda is over the course of, say, 50, 60 years. So the globe that pop up in every single piece of media always come up in very interesting spots. And sometimes they don't mean anything. It's like it's in a crime drama and they're in their little office, researching, or they're doing their little investigation.
It's
always
in
a globe.
commercials. Have you looked in commercials?
Oh, it's in everything. The globe is everywhere. It's everywhere.
And once you see it, you can't stop seeing it. It's literally everywhere.
I literally automatically say globe every time I see one. Globe.
If it's on the right side or the left side.
My ex partner used to get so angry with me because I couldn't watch them. We couldn't watch things without going globe.
Yeah, no, I say the same thing. Globe.
Oh my god, it could be one of those drinking games where every time you see a globe, you gotta take shots.
It's the same as the whole dinosaur thing. You got to think that right from anything that they have to reinforce so much, you've got to question, because right from the get go, you're in your crib and they've got planetary kind of what do you call
Alex
it?
said that before. Yeah.
What do you call those things?
A mobile.
A mobile above your head. It's on your wallpaper. You've got they're giving every kid a globe. They've got the whole dinosaur now. They love dinosaurs, and it's just reinforced so much.
And that's a really good point too. Is when you bring up when in time, and I'm gonna do a whole Reckoner video on this at length. But when in time do they plant the heliocentric lie? They plant it as early as possible. There's no reason a kid needs to learn about cosmology at 0 unless there's a reason for it to be planted in there, and immediately sets them on the wrong course of understanding how they make their decisions in life, because they always think that they're moving. It's subconscious. And by the time they get to be 20, 30 years old, it's so, when we broke free of it, we had to go through a period of withdrawal from
it's kind of like getting off of Gravitron.
Mourning. Actually, people go through grief. Three stages of grief.
Yeah.
It's mourning something. It's like I didn't want to let go of the ball. I was like, this can't be true. When you say from birth, the indoctrination, the brainwashing, the programming about and you know yourself, you can't, if you don't, again, there's a massive difference between intelligence and education. Obviously, I know plenty of people. I know plenty of people who have bachelor's degree who are actually retards.
They're the dumbest people ever.
Yeah, they are.
I'm like, how did you actually even survive?
I'm trying to explain to them.
And how do you have a doctrine?
Yeah.
Doctor in.
You have a
And they think they're
narrative.
so smart.
You have a narrative, and then they
And then they call me a know-it-all.
they memorize it, and then they regurgitate it for an exam, and then I've got a degree, I've got a PhD.
Yeah, but you're the know-it-all.
I was arguing with some guy who was like, prefaced everything he said with, "I'm a physicist. I'm a physicist.
What?
I'm a physicist."
A hysicist?
Physicist.
Yeah, she makes wordplay. But like, here's the thing: it's like what you have is like there's a lot of wordplay in that, and then you were right. It's like you regurgitate a lot of stuff. You get to advance until the point where their brain is so locked into the doctrine that they might seem like they sound smart, but they have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
Period.
How do you know that the original source was true? You're just it's an appeal to authority. You're just regurgitating. Or some academic, somebody in Greece, ancient Greece, with sticks and shadows, fucking proved it. So you don't have to look into it anymore.
Oh my God, that story is so fucking ridiculous. He counted his steps for 500 miles. Are you fucking kidding me? How retarded do you have to be to believe that shit? It's so dumb that they're laughing at it. The people that made that story up are laughing their asses off. They actually believe this guy counted his steps for 500 miles. They believe it. And they're just having a good time at our expense. It's like, eventually we got to stand up and be like, that was bullshit, and we're calling you out on it now, you motherfucker.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of this stuff is satanic, and I feel like occultist and satanic, and I think a lot of that stuff, in Satanism, they have to mock their victims. It has to be hidden in plain sight, right? They have to. They show us everything, don't they?
They have to show it. It's a karmic thing. And here's what I want to do. We're going to have you on in 6 months from now because I want to catch up with all your guests that you come back with. And
I want to talk to you more. You're funny.
We're going to do it again. I know he's in Scotland and it's late. I want you to tell everyone where they can find you so they can sub you, and so they can figure out and watch your show, because I want everybody over here to be subs on yours. And like, hopefully you got some people over the pond. Sub us, Tinfoil Sombrero on YouTube, and tell us where to find you, everything.
Yeah, well, you can find it, obviously, like you said, alluded to earlier. We're on YouTube. You can find the Loft Project. It's easy to find with the only Loft Project podcast on there. Unfortunately, obviously, we've got 2 strikes at the minute, so we're for the minute we're using.
Wait, how are you out with 2 strikes? I thought you were out with 3 strikes.
No, I'm not. I'm just being careful.
Hold on, are they playing YouTube with the baseball rules?
3 strikes, you're out. The 3 strikes and you're out. The channel is gone.
Do you have like a mirror channel?
So we're on Rumble. So you can find us
another mirror channel on YouTube. You can just set up a new YouTube channel and just.
So let us know what your Rumble situation is. You can also find you on YouTube. Let us know.
Yeah. You can find us at the Loft Project 4844. That's the channel, the Loft Project 4844. That's where we're doing all our lives now. Obviously, no censorship. We can speak freely about what we want to talk about. And yeah, just you can find us there. We'll hopefully see you over there.
Yeah, and
definitely sub up, please share, subscribe,
and I really appreciate the invite, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and let's reconnect in 6 months, see if I'm in jail. Or
hold on a second. Are we even going to be here in 6 months? I think 3.
Who knows? Who knows?
I don't know. I honestly, I'm on the whole quantum immortality kind of timeline. I'm like, yeah, our U-Haul exists in another place. There's another timeline that my therapist asked me, they have to ask you every session, have you ever any thoughts of like hurting yourself or anybody else? And I was like, well, in lieu of the U-Haul, but the one time I had said to my therapist, I was like, yeah, I'm surprised I'm not dead. And she's like, well, why is that? And I was like, I don't know, quantum immortality. And she was like,
I mean, again, listen, we're trying to kind of analyze what we perceive to be this physical reality. Who even knows if it is? Who even knows if it is? For me, the reason why the Matrix movie resonates so much is because I feel that we could literally be in the Matrix right now. We these avatars that we're in, or these flesh suits, whatever they are. I don't know. Who knows?
Doesn't it become semantics at some point in time? I've always been of the ilk that's like, Yeah, we're driving these bodies around. You could call it a simulation if you want to. I mean, I tend not to want to use. No, he's just focusing.
Oh, no,
But I'm always careful to use earthbound terms to describe this experience. You could call it a simulation, you call it whatever you want. But we're definitely driving bodies around and having an experience. And but I want to tell you, I thank you for what you do. And I'm glad there's other people out there like you. Like you did the same thing that we did. We needed somewhere to talk to people about a subject we thought was important. And we're so glad that you're doing it over there. And I can't wait to meet more people from your scene, your circles over there, to get connected with people over here. We got a lot more people doing streams over here that everyone should be connected. So we're all talking, man.
Yeah, let's start the Loft Economic Forum.
Hey,
you will own nothing and you will be happy. you will eat the bugs.
Yeah. Oh my God, Klosh Slog. I'm like, that man.
Oh, that's good.
He's a turtle.
Hey, quick fact of the day in regards to the whole Eratosthenes walking 500 miles. So I just looked it up, and according to Google Maps, it would take around 6 days and 21 hours to walk from Bellefonte, Pennsylvania, I guess from a certain location, without breaks, meaning no sleep, nothing. So that's how long it would take on average.
I would lose count after 10.
I know. It's like counted your steps.
How long would it take to swim 5,000 miles?
How would you survive out in the middle of the fucking desert?
I don't know, but I would. I thought the Bare Naked Ladies did that. How long would it take to walk 5,000 miles? Because they were like, I will walk 500 miles and I will walk 500 more. So that's 1,000. Just to be that man that walked that 1,000 miles to walk.
Yeah.
James,
I want to thank you so much for coming on. We're gonna have you back in 6 months.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you everybody in the chat. Sorry we didn't shout out. We're still operating from a kind of a weird studio situation in Kentucky. But James, thank you so much for coming on. We'll see you guys regular time next week, 7 p.m. Andrew, good to see you.
Love
Rico,
you, Andrew.
You're in the next room. Andrew, thank you.
Rico and DJ, we miss you.
Yeah, they'll be back soon. And
Also,
Andrew,
shout out to everybody in chat because we didn't do that.
yeah,
And
sorry guys,
I'm
but we love
opposed,
you.
I don't know it.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Thank you, James. We really appreciate it.
See you. Good night.
Cheers. Sorry I was late.
No worries.
Andrew, we'll send you a pink slip.
Okay.
Just watch it. And James, I'm gonna send you a list of socks that I want.
Yeah. No,
I need some
listen.
Argyle.
Send me a list and I'll send it over to you. Okay.
Actually, you know what? Better
I hope
yet,
this-
I'm just
I hope
gonna-
this
I
plays.
gotta renew my passport.
Definitely. And listen, guys, I know that I hope that a miracle happens and they somehow find your stuff. I really do hope that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
yeah,
Take care.
and also,
Cheers, brothers. We'll talk to you soon.
Cheers. Right. Take care.
I just want to say thank you to
Cheers.
everybody who shared the GoFundMe for Alex and I, and huge
Thank
shout
you,
out to
Andrew.
for setting that up. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Cheers, guys. Good night.
Mwah.
Cheers.
Also, 24 hours. Hi, Karen. Hi, Liz. Valley Park.
Hi, Valley. Hi, Sandro. Hi, Josh Corey. Hi, Mel. And
Ortiz Liberalis.
Tony Corrales, Artist Liberalis. Bill Wall. Badhead. David Banner.
Emmy Lou, #1 fan. Dr. Beth.
Bobby Dogstone. Ted Summer. Rupert Twine. Mr. Jingles.
Also, Fathead's gonna have a thing coming soon, so check out his channel. With that, hey Jay. Candy papers.
I'm on the airship.
Commercial sound and video. I gotta call you.
I'm on the airship. Moving up the coastline of the earth. Soaring through the skies in Anatolia. The birds are.
See, I wanted to be a bird.
Bill Wheel.
When are we gonna get? When are we gonna get water through? Sorry, this guy, Chief Crow.
Oh yeah, we need to get Tony.
He's coming. He will be on soon when the time is right.
When I saw this song,
he is
when you guys were playing it in Vegas, I was tripping on mushrooms at the time, but it was fucking like, whoa, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah, actually, we should definitely comment. Which is basically in your head, because this is all a simulation, and you're not here. And I got to move your couches, and I just. By the way, it's adorable. It's so cozy. And I feel like it's the coolest thing ever. By the way, I need some weed.
Love you all. Mwah, mwah, mwah. We'll see you next week at 7 p.m. Love you. Bye.
Hashtag U-Haul famous, because I'm going to start doing those TikToks when I can talk about it and not cry.